great ruler of Rashtrakuta dynasty was Krishna III, whose period is 936 to 967 AD. Krishna III occupied Kanchi and Tanjore and defeated the Chola army at the Battle of Takkolam in 949 AD. After 967 AD, the Rashtrakutas were replaced by the later Chalukyas. Achievements of Rashtrakutas. The Rashtrakuta rulers were great patrons of art and literature. Krishna I built the famous rock-cut Kailasha temple at Ellora in the latter half of the 8th century AD. The cave's shrine of Elephanta was built on an island near the west coast. Amoghar Vasa is said to have written the earliest book of poems in Kannada. Gangas. The kingdom of Ganga was founded by Didiya, who was also called Kongani Varman, and Madhava in the 4th century AD. The Ganga are believed to have belonged either to the line of Ikshvakus or with the Kanvas. Durvinita was one notable Ganga ruler who distinguished himself in warfare with Pallavas. In 8th and 9th centuries, the Gangas had to encounter conflict with Chalukyas of Vengi and the Rashtrakuta ruler Dhruva Nirupama. By 1004 AD, the Ganga sovereignty had ended. The capital of Ganga was Kuluvula, which was later transferred to Talakad by Harivarman. During the reign of Rajamala IV, whose period of rule is 977 to 985 AD, a 58 feet high statue of Gomateshwara was erected at Sravanbelagola in 983 AD. Yadavas. Yadavas rose to prominence after the decline of the Chalukyas of Kalyani. The first noteworthy figure of Yadava dynasty was Bilama V, who made Devgiri his capital. His successor was Jaitrapal I, who killed the Kakatiya ruler Rudradeva. The great Brahmana minister Hemadri, renowned for his Hindu Dharam Shastra, flourished during the reign of Mahadeva and Ramachandra. His most important work is Chaturvarga Chintamani. During the reign of Ramachandra, the army led by Alauddin Khilji, who was then governor of Kara, invaded Devagiri in 1294 AD. Kakatiyas. Kakatiyas were feudatories of later Chalukyas who rose to power in Telangana after the decline of Chalukyas. Warangal was their seat of power. The Kakatiyas rose into prominence under Ganpati, who ascended the throne in 1199 AD. Ganapati successfully overcame Cholas, Kalingas, Yadavas, etc. Ganapati was succeeded by his daughter Rudrambha in 1261 AD, who was succeeded by her grandson Prataparudradeva. The work Prataparudriya of Vaidyanath, a work of politics, has been dedicated to him. Prataparudradeva had to submit finally to the Muslim invader Malik Kafur. Kadambas. The founder of Kadambas dynasty was Mayurasaranam, who, annoyed by the Pallavas, established his rule in Karnataka with Banavasi as his seat of government. During the reign of Kakusthavarman, the Kadamba dominion and influence grew rapidly. The Chalukyan ruler Pulkesin I and Pulkesin II conquered large part of their dominions. Hoysalas. The founder of Hoysala dynasty was Hala. The Hoysala attained dominant position with the rule of Bitiga Vishnu Vardhana in the beginning of 11th century AD. He transferred his capital from Velapura to Dwarasamudra or Helibid. He is believed to have humbled the Cholas, the Pandyas, the Kadambas, etc. The next important ruler of his house was Veer Balala I. The last Hoysala ruler was Veer Balala III. The Hoysala kingdom was ravaged by Malik Kafur in 1130 AD. The Hoysalas built the Kesava temple at Belur, which is dedicated to Vishnu, and Hoysaleswara temple dedicated to Shiva at Dwar Samudra. History of South India. The region that lies between the south of the two rivers Krishna and Tungabhadra is South India. There are references to the Cholas, Cheras and Pandyas in the inscription of Ashoka and Kharavela as well as in the Indica of Megasthenes, but the details about the people of South India in the beginning of historical period are gleaned from Sangam literature. The Sangam was a college or assembly of Tamil poets held under royal patronage. The Sangam is into two groups, the narrative and the didactic. The narrative text is called Melekanaku and comprises of 8 anthologies and 10 ideals. The didactic works are called Kilkanaku and comprises of 18 minor works. Tradition has it that the first of 3 Sangams was attended by gods and sages, and all its word has perished. The only work which has survived of second Sangam is Tolkapiyam of the Grammar of Tamil. The poet of third Sangam wrote 8 anthologies called Ettu Togati. The 18 minor works called Kilakannaku are moralizing in character. The 2 famous of these works are Tirukural and Naladiyar. Tirukural is sometimes called the Bible of the Tamil land. The Naladiyar is more formal and literary in style and contains verses of much merit and high ethical content. By 6th century, the Aryan influence had penetrated whole of Tamil land. The indigenous style of poetry was rapidly alternating under the influence of Sanskrit, and Tamil poets took to writing long poems. The earliest and greatest of these is Silapadikaram, which according to tradition was authored by Ilango Vadigal, a grandson of great Chola king Karikalan, who lived in 1st or 2nd century AD. A little late was composed its sequel, Sattan of Madurai. A third Tamil epic is Jivika Chintamani, written by a Jaina, Tiruthakkadevar. 3 early kingdoms in South India. The 3 earliest kingdoms in South India were the Pandyas, the Cholas and the Cheras. The Pandyas' territory occupied by the southernmost and southeast portion of the Indian peninsula, which included roughly the modern district of Tinnavelli, Ramnath and Madurai in Tamil Nadu. Madurai was the capital of Pandya kingdom. It had trade relations with Roman Empire and sent embassies to Roman Empire. The Brahmins enjoyed considerable influence, and the Pandyan kings performed Vedic sacrifices. The Cholas' kingdom was situated between the Pennar and Velar rivers. The chief center of power lay at Urayuvur, a place famous for cotton trade. The famous king in this period of Chola rule was Karikala, who founded Puhar of Kaveri Pattanam. Puhar, the Chola capital, was a great center of trade and commerce, and excavations show it had a large dock. The Chola power declined subsequently by attacks from Cheras and Pandyas. It was finally wiped out by attacks from north by Pallavas, whose capital was at Kanchi. From 4th to 9th century, Cholas played only a marginal role in South Indian history. They came to power again in 9th century and dominated South India history for almost 4 centuries thereafter. We will discuss this later on. The Chera or Kerala country was situated to the west and north of the land of Pandyas. The greatest Chera king was Sengutuvan, who is credited with having invaded the north and crossed the Ganga after the 2nd century AD. The Chera power declined, and we hear no more of it until the 8th century AD. Now we shall discuss in detail the 2 major kingdoms in South Indian history. These 2 kingdoms are Pallavas and Cholas of later period. The Pallavas. The period of Pallavas extended from 3rd century AD to 9th century AD, and the rise of Pallavas coincided with the decline of the Chola, Chera and Pandya kingdom. The origin of Pallavas is obscure, and there are many theories about their origin. According to some, they were descendants of Greeks, Parthians. According to others' theory, they were a local clan which grew after the decline of Andhra dynasty in the Deccan, etc. The capital of Pallavas was at Kanchi to the south of Madras. A Pallava king, Vishnugopa, was captured by Samudragupta and then liberated. Towards the end of 6th century, the Tamil Nadu land was divided between Pallavas and the Pandyas. Simha Vishnu, whose period is from 575 to 600 AD, extended the Pallava kingdom up to the river Kaveri. He was a Vaishnava, and in the Varvaha cave at Mamalapuram, a magnificent relief representing the king and his 2 consorts have been found. His son Mahendra Varman I was defeated by the Chalukyan king Pulkesin II, and with this the great struggle between Chalukyans of Vatapi and Pallavas started, which continued for generations. Narasimha Varman I, whose period is 630 to 668 AD and who was son of Mahendra Varman, is regarded as the most successful Pallava king. He occupied the Chalukyan capital Vatapi and probably killed Pulkesin II. He sent two expeditions to Ceylon and placed a nominee of his own on the throne of that island. The Chinese pilgrim Huan Sang visited Kanchi during this period. The Pallavas fought continuously with Chalukyas during the 7th and 8th century. They also had to fight Pandyas and the Rashtrakutas. The Rashtrakuta king Govind III invaded the Pallavas' kingdom and defeated its ruler Dantivarman. The Pallava power was finally wiped out by Aditya I Chola, who defeated Aparakita Varman and annexed the Pallava kingdom. After the eclipse of early Cheras, Cholas and Pandyas, the history of southernmost India is not clear. However, the Kalbharas revolt in 6th century is an important event which affected not only Cheras and Pandyas but the Pallavas as well. The Kalbharas are said to have overthrown innumerable kings and established their hold on the Tamil land. They also stopped Brahmadeya rights granted to the Brahmins in numerous villages. The Kalbharas' revolt was so widespread that it could be put down only through the joint efforts of the Pandyas, the Pallavas and the Chera kings. Pallava art. The Pallavas are credited for bridging the transition from rock architecture to structural stone temples. The Pallavas' temples are sometimes classified into 4 architectural styles. The first is called Mahendra style after the great royal artist Mahendra Varman I. In this style we see the influence of cave style of architecture. The second style is called Mamala style. These temples are found near Mahabalipuram, founded by Narasimha Varman. These temples are complete with details of an ordinary temple. The third style is called Rajasimha style. The most famous temple of the style is the Kailash temple of Kanchi. It has a pyramidal tower flat-roofed mandapam. The fourth style is Aparajita style, which is more ornate and resembles the Chola architecture. The Panch Pandava cave temple, the Shore temple at Mahabalipuram and the Kailash Nath temple at Kanchipuram are some of the famous temples of Pallava period. The imperial Cholas, 850 to 1200. We discussed earlier that Chola kingdom was amongst the earliest of South Indian kingdoms, but from their decline in 4th century AD, they played only a marginal role in the history of South India till 9th century AD when they once again rose to power. The founder of the Chola dynasty was Vijayalaya, who captured Tanjore in 850 AD. By end of 9th century, his successor Aditya I Chola wiped out Pallavas of Kanchi and weakened the Pandyas, thus bringing the southern Tamil country under his control. The greatest Chola rulers were Rajaraja I, whose period was 985 to 1014 AD, and his son Rajendra, whose period was 1014 to 1044 AD. Rajaraja destroyed Chera navy at Trivandrum and attacked Ceylon. He also captured the Pandya capital Madurai and annexed the northern part of Sri Lanka. He also conquered Maldive Islands. The son and successor of Rajaraja, Rajendra I, continued with the annexationist policy by overrunning Pandya and Chera kingdom and including them in his empire. He also annexed rest of Sri Lanka, which remained under Cholas for 50 years. He sent an expedition against the Pala king Mahipala of Bengal by crossing Ganga and defeated him. In commemoration of this event, he assumed the title of Gangai Konda and founded a capital called Gangai Konda Cholapuram. He sent expedition against Sri Vijaya Empire, also called Sumatra, and conquered a number of places in Sumatra. The Chola navy was the strongest in the area for some time. The Chola Empire remained undiminished till 1115 AD under Kulothungan I, except for loss of Ceylon, and included the entire country south of Krishna and Tungabhadra. But the Chola Empire shrank after it, and at the beginning of the 13th century, the Chola Empire tottered. Their place was taken by Pandyas and Hoysalas in the south, while the place of later Chalukyas was taken by Yadavas and Kakatiyas. For a century after this, the history of South India is the history of these four kingdoms who were engaged in continuous battles with each other. The Muslim invasion of the Deccan, which began towards the end of the 13th century, upset all these four kingdoms and caused a period of confusion which was terminated by rise and expansion of the Bahmani and Vijayanagar kingdom in the second quarter of the 14th century. Chola administration. The dominant form of government in Chola administration was hereditary, and it was more centralized than that of Chalukyas. The Chola administration machinery was an elaborate and complicated bureaucracy comprising officials of various grades. The offices tended to become hereditary. For purpose of administration, the Chola Empire was divided into convenient divisions. The division in descending order being Valandu or Mandalam, Nadu and Kurram. All land was carefully surveyed and divided into tax-bearing and non-taxable lands. The village as a whole was responsible for the payment of the entire revenue due from it to the king's officers. But the most important feature of Chola administration was the functioning of autonomous rural institutions. The Uttara Merur inscription is the most famous in this regard, which tells in detail about the functioning of these autonomous institutions. Society and economy during Chola rule. Caste consciousness was prominent in social relationship. The society was divided into Brahmins and non-Brahmins who were more or less working for them. The center of social and economic life at this time was the temple. Temple was center of education in Sanskrit, and to some large temple colleges were attached. One more important point regarding caste structure in South India was the little mention of Kshatriyas and Vaishyas, while the Shudras were prominent. The economy during the early part of this period was self-sufficient and no large-scale surplus was produced, but with the rapid development of trade under Cholas, this scenario changed. Overseas trade was the strength of the Chola merchants. Mahabalipuram, Kaveri Pattanam, Shaliyur and Korkai on the east coast and Ceylon on the Malabar coast had elaborate establishment controlling the South India trade both eastwards and westwards. Trade was controlled by merchant guilds, and the king and the higher officials of state invested in the guilds.
Let us now discuss some important facts relating to the prehistory of India. The term Neolithic was coined by Sir John Lubbock in his book Prehistoric Times, first published in 1865. The term denotes an age in which stone implements were made more skillfully and were more varied in form than earlier. V. Gordon Childe defined the Neolithic Chalcolithic culture as a self-sufficient food economy. Miles Burkitt put forward the following four characteristics a culture should fulfill to be known as a Neolithic culture. 1. Agriculture practice. 2. Animal domestication. 3. Grinded and polished stone tools. And 4. Pottery manufacture. Chalcolithic cultures of India. Name: Kayatha. Location: Ujjain district, Madhya Pradesh. Period: 2000 to 1800 BC. Ahar or Banas. Location: Udaipur district, Rajasthan. Period: 2000 to 1400 BC. The Savalda. Location: Dhulia district, Maharashtra, from 2000 to 1800 BC. Malwa. Location: Malwa region of Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra, 1700 to 1200 BC in central India and 1700 to 1400 BC in Maharashtra. Prahas. Location: Dhulia district, Maharashtra, 1800 to 1500 BC. Rangapur, location Gujarat, 1400 to 700 BC. Jorve, location Ahmednagar, Maharashtra, 1400 to 700 BC. And Chirand, location Saran district, Bihar, 1500 to 750 BC. The Paleolithic culture of India developed in the Pleistocene period or the Ice Age, which lasted between 1 million and 10,000 years before the Holocene period, that is, the present geological period. The Holocene period began 10,000 years ago. The Lower Paleolithic phase existed between 250,000 BC and 1 lakh BC. The Middle Paleolithic between 1 lakh BC and 40,000 BC, and the Upper Paleolithic between 40,000 BC and 10,000 BC. The Mesolithic culture continued to be important roughly from 9,000 BC to 4,000 BC. The microliths are the characteristic tool of the Mesolithic age. Bhimbetka in Madhya Pradesh is a striking site of both the Paleolithic and Mesolithic paintings. The Mesolithic people lived on hunting, fishing, and food gathering. In the Belan Valley, all the three phases of the Paleolithic, Mesolithic, and Neolithic have been found in sequence. Adamgarh in Madhya Pradesh and Bagaur in Rajasthan provide the earliest evidence for the domestication of animals. The Neolithic age or the New Stone Age began in 9000 BC, but in the Indian continent, the earliest Neolithic settlement was in Mehergarh in Baluchistan, Pakistan. The Mehergarh settlement emerged around 7000 BC. We will take up this topic in a later section.
Architecture in India made a beginning in whose reign? The answer is Ashoka's. The Sunga dynasty rose on the ruins of whose rule? The answer is Mauryan. The railings of the Sanchi Stupa were built in whose period? The answer is Shunga's. Kharavala belonged to which dynasty? The answer is Cheti. The Hathi Gumpa inscription is associated with whom? Answer Kharavela.